What's up, everybody? So today marks one full year of owning the 2016 Toyota 4Runner. We bought this thing last December, brand new with about 18 miles on it. And like the title indicates, this is the 1 year update. So to start off, this is my dad's daily driver. This is his car, so no, I did not sell the Z and get a 4Runner, and my brother did not sell the Evora to get a 4Runner. This is my dad's car. We of course have our own cars. So starting off with the history, how did this vehicle come to be? Well, it actually started back in 1999 when my dad bought his first SUV. He traded in, I think it was a Mercury Grand Marquis for a 1995 Ford Explorer. That truck became the first vehicle my brother and I learned how to drive, and till this day, it's still my favorite vehicle we've ever owned. It's just, that thing was a true beast. That thing had about 260,000 miles on it when we sold it, and that was in 2008 when we bought a 2007 Toyota 4Runner. So we had the 07 4Runner for many years. Last December is when it was about time to trade it in. My dad was ready for a new vehicle. We had about 160,000 miles on it. Perfectly running, no issues with it, but he was ready for something new. So we looked at a few different vehicles. We were pretty much set on getting another 4Runner just because we really liked our current one. So we did look at the Explorer and the Jeep Grand Cherokee. And quickly we realized the Explorer is not a rugged SUV at all. It really is a glorified car. It's just a waste of money, honestly. It was about $50,000 for four-wheel drive, the big tow hitch with all the towing package, navigation, leather, and a sunroof. So that was a complete rip-off. You could buy a Porsche Macan for that price. The Jeep Grand Cherokee was pretty awesome. I would definitely recommend checking it out. There's nothing wrong with it. However, it's pretty pricey, around $50,000 to get the four-wheel drive setup where you have the terrain selectability. If you don't get that, you either have like an all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive or something like that. But we weren't too fans of that being so pricey. 4Runner, on the other hand, you could get your trim level basically with the few little things you wanted for not crazy money. So this one is an SR5 with four-wheel drive, has the tow package and the premium package. So we need a tow package with the boat. That is absolute must. Four-wheel drive is a must as well. So this one came in around $37,000 to $38,000, which was a lot more appealing than the other two vehicles. So as for actually buying this car, we actually went the route we weren't at all planning to go. Our first idea was to look for a used one. So this was the end of 2015. We were looking at 2013s, 2014s. We were hoping a few years old, maybe 20 to 30,000 miles, could get one for quite a lot less than a brand new one. Turns out that was not the case at all. This one was the exact same price as all the used ones. We were finding many 2013s, 14s, and 15s going for $37,000 to about $40,000. So at that point, we quickly realized there was absolutely no reason to buy a used one when the brand new one was the exact same price. And as for selling the 07 4Runner, we decided to trade it in for this one rather than do a private sale. And what we were finding with that, a lot of people nowadays would rather buy a used vehicle from a dealership rather than private sale. So it is starting to get a little bit more difficult to actually private sale a vehicle. And the price difference between what we could have sold it for, private party retail versus trade-in at a dealership, maybe was $2,000 to $3,000, so not crazy difference. And then the biggest thing was the tax savings. So trading in the 07 for this, we saved almost $2,000, I would say, in taxes. So at the end of the day, trading in the 07 for the new one, we're talking less than $500, maybe $1,000, if that, of difference of opportunity lost in the cost. So that really didn't make much sense to sell it privately. And on top of that, this was the only blue one with the exact specs that we wanted that was on the East Coast, so we couldn't even find another one that we would get. So it just made a lot of sense to go ahead and trade in the 07 for this. Didn't really lose much money in the whole process of not privately selling it. It was pretty cost effective. And then, like I said, buying brand new at the time, and even still today, was a way better choice than going used. So what kind of driving has this vehicle encountered? Well, this has basically been a highway mileage, just daily driver. My dad's got a pretty decent commute to work every day, so it racks up miles every day doing that. And we did take a, I think, 3,000 mile round trip to Maine and back. We drove all the way up there and back for some family event stuff going on. I think my brother and I each drove about 8 hours total, and then my dad picked up the rest, maybe 12 to 14 hours of driving. Very nice on the highway, super comfortable. No issues, of course, on the journey up there. It was a nice drive. But right now, this car actually has 19,638 miles on it. I think we bought it with 18 on it. So it is, in my opinion, a pretty high mileage vehicle, racking up about 20,000 miles in a year. As for the amount of issues that we've had with this car, that number is probably not too surprising. So moving on now to maintenance. So when you buy a new Toyota, they give you a free thing of 2 years, 20,000 mile free maintenance, which sounds all good. Honestly, it's kind of a waste of time. Obviously, we burned through hours in 1 year, given the mileage. That whole free thing they do is basically 2 oil changes, and that's about it. At the 6-month mark, we did take it in for its first oil change, which was 10,000 miles. All the Toyotas now are running on a synthetic oil, and that's the interval they say, so we just went ahead with what Toyota said. Honestly, that whole program of free maintenance was just a waste of time because you had to take the time to actually drive all the way to the dealership, wait an hour, and then you're done. So we're glad to be able to change the oil ourselves in probably about 6 months from now when it hits another 10,000 miles. That we will film because it is a little bit different, I think, than our previous 4Runner. So as far as regular maintenance goes, there's nothing really to report. It's just a normal car, you know, change the oil when Toyota recommends it, rotate your tires when you need to. So nothing out of the ordinary there. So for the modifications to the vehicle, we did quite a lot the first 2 or 3 months of owning it just to kind of get this car set up the way we liked it. The first thing we did was the NFAB running boards. They're really functional. They work the way you would want. The step is in the right place. They're good off-road too because they don't get in the way. A friend of mine had an FJ with these same running boards and we were doing all sorts of things and the running boards don't hit the ground and it kind of acts as a little bit of a rock rail. So we really like those. We also did an AVS hood skin on the front of the hood. Recently I got the windows tinted on it, just getting the fronts to match the rear a little bit. I think the rears are just the stock privacy glass, so that should be like 20%. Got the rears up to a 35%, so it's nice and dark compared to stock. Another thing I did, which I really like, is the silver vinyl on the front bumper, kind of to mimic the trail model. It gives it a lot of extra flair, looks really sweet. And then with the leftover vinyl, I went ahead and did the mirrors. And I believe that is all the mods that we've done on it so far. It's not really gonna get modified like crazy. If it were mine, I would definitely do either a 3 or a 6-inch lift kit, just to give it that awesome stance, new wheels and tires, of course. But I know that's not gonna happen anytime soon, if at all. But yeah, that's about all we've done to it, just to kind of give it a little bit more stylish look. So as for my overall thoughts of the 2016 4Runner, what I think of it as an SUV, I've put maybe 1,000 miles on it, so I obviously haven't driven it crazy amounts at all, but I've been in it a pretty good amount of time, so I know a lot about what this vehicle does have to offer. Overall, I do like it a lot. There's really not that many downfalls with it. I will brush on the downfalls in just a second, but things I do like, it is really nice on the highway. It's really, really smooth. The visibility is excellent out of the vehicle. You can see out of the front really nicely. You have a nice big windshield. The roof line is a little bit farther out than our 07 4Runner and a lot of glass everywhere. So when I'm in it, I kind of feel high up and it's a nice view out and really comfortable. Minimal road noise, pretty much no wind noise, and overall it's a pretty nice highway cruiser. I really do like the ruggedness of the 4Runner. We haven't done any off-roading with this, but judging by our previous 4Runner and the Tacoma, I know this is a really capable off-road vehicle. And hopefully soon, hopefully this coming year, we'll definitely take it on some off-roading adventures, given that it's not brand spanking new anymore. I'm sure a little mud won't hurt it, but that will be fun to get it out and hit some trails with it, because I know it's going to be a beast out there. I do like how this really is the last SUV around. Pretty much all the SUVs nowadays are turning into just crossovers, while this one is still solid rear axle on a frame, so it's a real truck underneath, and it has a lot of the ruggedness that we like in real SUVs. Not all these crossovers that everything is turning into nowadays, but I do like it a lot. I like the interior really nicely. Got the nice leather steering wheel. With the premium package, you get, of course, the navigation and sunroof, and then also the synthetic leather seating. I think the seats are pretty nice. They wear very nicely. With 20,000 miles, the seat still looks brand new. There's no blue color from wearing jeans or anything like that. And being that it isn't real leather, it's not going to crack like leather is. It's a little bit rougher than a real leather seat would be, but I think it's overall pretty good material. And I think the outside is one of the best features. It's a really tough looking truck. The front end is unique. It doesn't look like your traditional SUV. I think it's got overall really good exterior look, very solid appearing, and overall probably one of the nicer looking SUVs that is not a $50,000 Porsche or Range Rover or something like that. So as for things that are downsides for the 4Runner, it's not the most powerful SUV out there. When you floor it, it doesn't really throw you back in your seat. I mean, it's got enough power to get up and go, but it's not the fastest SUV. Obviously, it's not trying to be a GTS Cayenne or an SRT8 Grand Cherokee, but it could use just a little bit better tuning maybe in the engine. From a 4-liter V6, you would expect a little bit more power. I mean, my 3.7 V6 in my Nissan 370Z has a lot more power than this, but obviously completely different vehicles. But yeah, if it did have more power, that would be nice, and I think a 6-speed automatic would be a much better choice than a 5-speed. That would help with power a little bit and help with fuel efficiency. But I still think it's quick enough for what it is. You don't need to buy this as a sports car. It's obviously not a sports car. It's powerful enough for what you're going to need it for, and the only time I really notice it being a little bit sluggish is when it is towing something. I've towed the utility trailer quite a bit when we've gone dirt biking or just bringing my brother's motorcycle to his place, and you can feel it. The trailer might be, I think, 1,000 or 2 pounds, and the bike's just a couple hundred pounds, but you can feel it on there. When you step on it, it doesn't really take off at all, and then our 4,000-pound boat, you can absolutely feel on it. So it's not the most powerful SUV out there, but it's pretty good for normal daily driving. And then the only other thing that I'm not a huge fan of with this car is the suspension. I think it is way too soft for what it is. When we had the Tacoma with a 6-inch lift kit, we had the coil spring spacers up front, and then we had Adelifes with new shocks in the rear. And what I find with this, there is just a lot of body roll. Whenever you take a turn or even just slow down, like I'm only going 30 miles an hour, but if I hit the brakes, the back end seems to go up quite a lot and the front end dives quite a bit. And then when you are taking a turn, it just kind of rolls a lot. So coming down this hill, making a left turn, there's quite a lot of body roll. I wouldn't mind this having a bit stiffer suspension, and if I were to lift it, which is what I would do if this was my vehicle, you know, I would have nice stiffer suspension front and rear just to give it a little bit more solid feel when you're out on the road. But overall though, that's really the only downsides. Could be a little more fuel efficient, could be a little bit more powerful, and go ahead and lift it, give it a sweet looking stance, and make it have a little bit stiffer suspension. So I think that about sums up the 1-year update owning the 2016 Toyota 4Runner. We haven't bought a brand new vehicle since we bought the Toyota Tacoma back in 2007. And just the pricing of these things, it was a pretty cool opportunity, I would say, to be able to get a brand new 4Runner. I've really enjoyed the little bit of time that I have driven this. I think it is a beast of an SUV. I would love to lift it and do some off-road adventures, and hopefully soon, since it is used now, it's not brand new anymore, hopefully we can do a little bit of off-roading in it, kind of show what this truck really can do when you are hitting the trails. And overall, we really like the 4Runner. It does everything you need it to do. The exterior looks pretty awesome. It's got a great style all around, really rugged look. The interior is well laid out. The rear seats are very comfortable for when you are on a long journey. They recline, and then the rear storage compartment area has a lot of space for normal things that you're going to be throwing in your SUV. And the overall interior look is really nice. Everything is ergonomically designed, and honestly, it's a pretty good SUV. I don't really see any other SUV coming close to it for the overall package. For less than 40 grand, getting one of these brand new is a better financial choice than going with the Jeep or the Ford or any other brand for that matter. You're getting the most rugged, off-road capable SUV on the market without crazy breaking the bank. And being a Toyota, of course, it's going to be reliable. You're not going to have issues with it, and it's just going to be a solid car for many, many years. I don't see us selling this anytime soon. Pretty sure this is going to go to probably 200,000 miles or something close to that. It's a great truck, and we've had no issues with it, and it's definitely awesome. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. 1-year update with a 2016 Toyota 4Runner. I would highly recommend checking one out if you are in the market for a nice SUV. If you're looking at spending almost 40 grand, just go with brand new anyway, because the used ones are the same price. If you don't want to spend that much, you could probably find an older one like maybe 2011, 2012, which I believe is the beginning of this generation. Go ahead and check out one of them on the used market for a little bit less. But overall, the 4Runner is a hard truck to beat, and it's definitely been a great SUV. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. Be sure to give us a high five and subscribe. Don't forget to like our Facebook page and follow us on Instagram for a few photos of the 4Runner. I think the next video with this will be the oil change in a few months, so we'll do that when that time comes. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next video.